Hello, greetings, creatures, students of the deep. We are here today to discuss alchemy. So, alchemy is the understanding of the relationship between consciousness and matter, seeing all matter as consciousness. We may, for the purpose of this session, let us visualize the awareness of now as a white light, a ball of awareness traveling through in a palace. And the palace consists of rooms, and each room is a state of being. State of being is a form of personality. It is a room within our emotional psyche. And it is a framing. The room is a framing for the awareness of now to perceive the reality around it. And its perception, its framing, its lens of the reality around it is what it sees, thus shaping the reality and creating the interaction with it. For example, if I put on a lens, an infrared camera, I am going to be seeing in terms of heat, and objects that don't have heat or that are neutral are going to blend into the same background, to the same foreground. Objects of heat are going to stick out. I'm going to perceive them. That's going to be what I base my interaction with the world around me is going. That's what the interaction with the world around me is going to be based off of: heat. If I am an artist and I walk into a room and I see blank walls all around me, I see an empty canvas. I see a space that I can paint upon, and I see worlds hidden within the walls that I can bring to life. If I'm an electrician walking into that same room, the color of the walls don't really matter to me. What matters to me is the presence of electricity and the formation of the wirings behind it. When I walk into this room as an electrician, I am seeing an entirely different scene than the room I walk into as an artist. Same room, different perception of it. So really it's a different room. Our interactions with it are incredibly different. Now, if I were to... So, the perception that we use to see the world is a combination of both everywhere we've been, everything that's ever happened to us to bring us to this moment of now, the family, the friends, the relationships, the traumas, the forms of education that we've been brought up into that formulate code our interaction with the universe, the call and response, the format of our dialogue. The culture that we are raised in teaches us what is okay and what is not, so we stray into what is okay and we stay away from what is not. So that is our past, is paired with the perception of our future. We could be looking down the rabbit hole of our future, all the what-if possibilities of everything turning out wrong. What if I get hit by a meteor? My mom is sick. What if she dies? Or what if, I never find love? What if I never get a job that I enjoy and I just end up living my entire life in this kind of limbo gray state that doesn't really experience passion but is merely stuck in a mundane, cyclical rat race routine? Or I can choose to look forward and see a vision of myself in the highest dream state reality, me embodying my dreams, defining and articulating what my dreams are, to choose only to see myself in the future as the highest version of me. And our perception of the past and our perception of the future come together to create this lens of now. This lens of now is traveling constantly through the past and the future come together to create an awareness which travels through the emotional psyche. Music is an example, and it's almost like a spaceship, and music is an exemplification for how we can fly, how we always are flying the spaceship. This awareness is traveling through rooms in the emotional psyche. If I listen to soothing, melodic, harmonious music, nice thoughts are going to come to me more likely. If I listen to dark, tormenting, screaming music, those kinds of thoughts are going to come to me, right? So it's the awareness of now I do not choose my thoughts, but I can choose the rooms of perception in which I sit in, and thus tune my thoughts. Almost like thoughts. Where do ideas come from? There's this never-ending script going on in my mind, a conscious dialogue, a voice speaking all the time that doesn't really experience silence unless, I go into meditation or flow state. But this dialogue is always happening, right? And what I do, it's almost like this well, and I'm constantly sitting, looking at this well as ideas, thought streams come through me. I'm constantly being bombarded in this river of thought. And what I do is the lens, the tuning that I put upon that well to filter the type of thoughts that are coming to me. And so the goal of now is to learn how to consciously create filters, create a system of filtration which regularly brings me into a state of the highest tuning, so that I am constantly sitting and collaborating, connecting, receiving, consuming thoughts of a very high key, in a key that builds upon itself, that amplifies itself, and takes me into my dreams rather than into it's basically, this stream of thought is me moving through time, right? So I can move through time in the spaceship, witnessing, taking in my inspiration, my inhale being of inspiration, so that my exhale is an amplification of that inspiration. Or I can use a different lens, different framing, and inhale fear. What if reality doesn't go well for me? And exhale, amplify that fear and fly into it. Either way, all the time, I am moving into the reality of my thoughts, right? Yeah, as if thoughts are themselves magnetic tunings to reality. And so if I sit with and work with and dance with and amplify and give emotion to and energy to one thought over a long period of time, that thought is going to echo into and become my reality. You can see this as like I'm a fisherman, and that one thought is a fish, an idea that I would like to manifest and feel physically in my reality. And the moment that I have the thought, I hook it. The reeling is giving it energy, pouring energy into it, driving to it as it is coming to me. I can let go of it before it is experiencing physicality, which unfortunately is the reality for most of the time. But if I stay on that thought for enough time and I give it enough energy, it is going to come into my reality, into my embodiment. One vision of the self, one dream, one scene, right? Most of the time we let go of the fish before it is reeled in. And that is the disconnect with our dreams. So what I seek to do now is to create, or rather witness, an alchemical process for tuning ourselves to our highest versions of reality, to create and structure this life so that I am epitomizing the amount of time that I can witness inspiration, amplify that inspiration, move into it, embody it, become it, and thus radiate it out for others to see others, and for it to be contagious for others to come and release. So I seek to basically create a map. There's constantly, I am the awareness, the spaceship flying through time and space, synchronizing to the reality of my thoughts. I seek to create and map out channels of thought stream that are very powerful in bringing me into a transcendent reality of the dreamscape, so that my dreams manifest. I seek to create thought streams which amplify and build upon my dreams and embody my dreams, rather than a reality which is a victim of whatever the tides move. I know there are things that I can do to choose my thought state, right? When I do something I'm passionate about, I am in a high vibration, and passionate thoughts come to me. When I do things that are dissonant, that I don't like, those thoughts are going to come to me. But even more important, and it's just like music, right? The kind of music we listen to is the room in the emotional psyche, and that room determines what kind of thoughts come to us. But even more importantly is the knowing that I don't need music, art. I don't need anything to choose the room of my perception. I can, right now, choose to bring myself into a state of elation and happiness, right? And I can use memories to do so. I can just begin thinking of, the most beautiful memories of my life. And immediately I'm going to begin going into that room in the palace, because in recalling those memories, I am reliving them as the awareness, right? And I can do the same with trauma and experience, terror in a moment, uncalled for, just by summoning it. And I can even do this without targeting memories themselves, so it's a really interesting practice. First, we use the memory to trigger these states of emotion. Then we take note of that state of emotion as we're there. And then it's basically, practice is like normal state, silence, breath. Now, think of memories of elation, of just transcendent raw self-expression, beauty, passion, right? Think of a time in which I experienced radical passion for another or for an activity in my life. Experience that. See it. Now amplify the feeling of it. Feel it like as if it's a ball, right? And then by amplifying the feeling of it, I can expand the ball with my metaphysical hands. Feel that sensation move throughout my entire body. It's just imagining and seeing how deep we can go with imagination. And then I can let go of that ball, that memory, and come back down to that state of stillness in which I began, and choose another ball of memory, terror, something that absolutely makes me feel horrified, right? The biggest traumas of my life, I can go down there, and it doesn't have to be as extreme, but think of something that makes you feel sad, right? And I can go down there, and I can experience the sadness within that emotion. Now, as I go there, I can take note of... So I can do this a few times and just feel this awareness of now, the spaceship moving up and down through the perceptual palace. And I can now, when I go up into a room of ecstatic elation, I can take note of how it feels. And when I really take note of how it feels, and I feel the sensation of it expanding upon my entire body, then it's like creating a bookmark, okay? Come back down to 0 and go to that space without the memory. Go to that space simply by feeling the sensation and remembering what the feeling is like throughout the body. And then we can detach feeling from memory and gain a more powerful control. Control's not the right word, it's more like dancing. Gain the ability, the mastery, the skills to drive the thought ship regardless of the external environment. We can choose our state of being. We are no longer acting simply as a reflexive reaction to the environment, to somebody cutting me off in my car. I don't need to get angry. I don't need to be pissed off because that motherfucker cut me off. No. I can choose my state of awareness now, and I'm not going to, and because I can, there's no way in hell I'm going to let some stranger who probably didn't mean it, who was probably just ignorant of my presence because of whatever was going on in his head, and he's doing the best he can, right? We all are. There's no way I'm going to let some accident that really means nothing control my state of awareness. So now I have shifted from a primitive state of being, simply reflexive, simply reactionary, which really is not different than animals, as we know them to be. This conversation, at least. Just simply moving upon instincts. Now we are ascending into a higher state of being in which we can choose our reality, thus choose our state of thought streams that are being with us all the time, and thus choosing our dialogue with the universe around us, thus crafting the universe around us. So now when somebody gets angry at me, I don't have to be angry with them. I don't have to amplify the anger in them. I can instead choose to come from a state of centeredness, have my focus being upon bringing them into a state of centeredness so that we can actually have a conversation, a dialogue, and so that the other person is no longer listening to me thinking of a way to counter the attack. Now it's an actual dialogue. Now that what once was a battle can be we can disarm the other, show mercy, and dance in collaboration. So, bringing it back to the goal. All of this is so that we can create our reality and embody our dreams. So the goal of the now is to create thought systems in which we can regularly, actively move into our dreams. So this takes us first to define our dreams. What is it we see? And create that painting as something we can move to. And then B, experience that painting deeper and deeper and deeper. And that process, it's like, if you think of this painting, this abstract image of all the different scenes that we would like to be in our highest dream visions of reality, we bring all those scenes together as if it is a story of a character, a collage of the character of our highest self, and that becomes the fish that I spoke about earlier. And now the question is, okay, now that I have the fish, I've hooked the fish, what can I do to experience giving this fish, this idea, this dream, energy, an immense amounts of energy? How can I summon incredible states of energy to give to this dream, to reel this dream in, to synchronize myself with its frequency? So this is the art and science of portality, perhaps a neo-refinement or definition of alchemy, but it's all the same shit as that's been done over ages and ages and ages, right? Pre-Egyptians. And we're just painting a new color, a new spin upon it. So, thought streams are our spaceship We are driving it constantly. Let us choose to drive consciously. Cool. Ale.